Oh my goodness, this bag is too heavy. Alright. What's up everybody, it's me, Spencer Lee, back with another video. And today we are going to do a what's in my camera bag video. If you have been following the channel for a while, you have known that we just finished up our Big Island trips and our Big Island vlogs. And I just wanted to kind of bring you guys behind the scenes a little bit to kind of show you like how ridiculous my photography setup or like my vlogging setup really is. Like, it's stupidly ridiculous. Like, sometimes I question my judgment. If you're new around here, hi, my name is Spencer. I am a landscape, wildlife, and time-lapse photographer based here in Honolulu, Hawaii. I often go and travel to neighbor island and shoot around Oahu and try and capture whatever feels like I feel like capturing, and just kind of wanted to show you guys a little bit about what I do and how and the gear that I use to do it. So let's start off with the camera bag. All right, so this, my friends, this can't even fit in the frame, but this is my backpack of choice. This is the Near Zero Whitney bag. This is my backpack of choice. This is a 45-liter bag. It has a custom back with my photo, and even though it has like a printable photo and stuff, I've been scratching this all over on the rocks and been tossed in the sand and in the forest and all kinds of stuff. Sharp lava rock can't even scratch the photo, so I'm super impressed by this back panel right here. It's 45 liters, but it's only like, it's less than 2 pounds, which is absolutely crazy for a camera bag being very, very light. And when you bring the amount of gear that I bring out on a normal day of shooting, you definitely appreciate, you know, lightweight and, you know, all the ultralight materials and how light the bag is. As you can see over here, this is the Peak Design capture clip that we have just kind of on the strap, on the left side of the strap. This is normally where the vlog camera of choice would probably set. Allow me to demonstrate. Backpack on. Waist straps, also great. Waist straps on. Distribute that weight. For example, vlog camera with the Peak Design Arca Swiss plates. Into the capture. Come on, let's go. You're not that hard to put in. There we go. And once that kind of snaps in, if you were actually locked in and everything, this thing is not coming off at all. So, really secure way to secure the camera gear, the vlog gear, and that's primarily what I use it for. But yeah, this bag just by itself is absolutely killer. It weighs like nothing, fits nice and snug onto the back. No complaints with the bag itself. Now, if we take the bag, put it down, and if we open it up, you can see that it's empty. There's like nothing in here, because part of the point of Near Zero Labs, or at least I guess the point of their bags, is to try and minimize the amount of camera gear that you have so you can walk further, hike further, and basically have less weight on your back. So the idea is that you can fit multiple different sizes of camera cubes inside. That way you can, I guess, maximize the amount of empty space that you have to fit like camping gear, clothes, whatever you really kind of want, in order to make sure that you, I guess, stay as comfortable as possible. Now, let me show you guys what I use for a camera cube. Oh, all right, camera cube of choice. Oh my goodness, I got whacked in the face by an AirTag. Camera cube of choice is this Peak Design large camera cube. And this is designed to go with the Peak Design travel, whatever they have. But I decided to pick one up because not only is it super duper light, like again, less than a pound, but it also has enough organization to fit all of my many lenses, all of my many camera bodies, and yeah, it's just great. And on top of here, I have the Apple AirTag that you can see there. So it's strapped to the Peak Design Capture, not Peak Design Capture, it's strapped to the camera cube, and then when I put it inside the bag and the set all becomes one, then basically our bag is fully trackable, so we don't lose any track of any camera gear. So slide this guy in here. Oh. All right, so there, just fits nice and easy, just like that inside the bag. Closes up pretty nicely. This little strap, this little top part definitely comes out a little bit high, but that is just tucked in this top part of the bag, and then the bag zips up nicely. Let's start off with camera bodies, and my main photo camera is this. It's the Sony a7R3, and this camera I've had it for a couple of years, so it's super beat up. But 42 megapixels, 10 frames a second in compressed RAW. It's pretty good. It's not the best. It doesn't have the focusing system or the megapixel count as the A7R4. It doesn't have the speed or the 50 megapixels as the A1. Hopefully this can become like an upgrade sometime in the future, but for now it does the job. It gets good high quality, high resolution photos, and honestly 43 megapixels is just enough for printing relatively large, and just makes for really good photos and content for YouTube and social media. Now, the reason why I kind of bring up this camera is I own one A7R4, but for the Big Island trip, we actually had 3 of these things. So if you can imagine 3 43 megapixel time lapses going at once, that is the kind of insanity that we were running. So I not only had mine, I also borrowed my friend Ed's A7R3, and I also borrowed Walt's A7R3. So like so much data and so much files to manage, and it was just absolutely crazy. If you want to see a video on how I manage my files, data management, backup, and all of that stuff, let me know in the comments if that's something that you guys want to see. But A7R3, and this is kind of the main photo camera that we run with. So the next camera that we're going to talk about is actually the camera that we're filming with, which is the A7 IV. And the A7 IV is my most recent upgrade in terms of like the camera body system. I used to have an A7 III that I kind of use as my second camera, and like sometimes I would vlog with it, but it didn't have a flip screen, so it was hard to vlog with. Now with the addition of the flip screen, it really has become kind of like my main video and main vlogging camera. I just absolutely love it. All right, let's get into the third camera body. And that is this A7, it's actually not an A7. That is the A6600. And this is a little crop sensor camera, so it's not, it's 24 megapixels, it's not full frame, but it's so small that it makes it really easy to kind of bring along as kind of like a B camera, another time-lapse camera if I need it, or what I actually have been using it a lot for is kind of like that third vlog camera when I have to use the A7 IV for wildlife. That's what I've been using it for recently, because it has this flip up screen, which does pretty much get the job done. I added on this small rig extension kind of thing on the side. Can you see that? And that basically just pushes the microphone out of the way so that I can actually flip it up and use the screen to see myself vlogging. So this has kind of been like the third camera body, just like my filler camera body if I need to fill it in to do anything, whether it's video or photo. It does the job well, doesn't take up a lot of space, and yeah. Oh, we cannot talk about camera bodies without talking about iPhones. So I have the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and now I'm an Apple fanboy as much as I am a Sony fanboy, and for video clips where I'm, just want to grab a short clip of the sky, or if I'm in a pinch and I don't really have all of my camera gear, I bust this out, vlog with it. I do have this little mounting plate for it so that, we can put a microphone up here if we need to, but tightens down on the tripod like that. And honestly, it's a really good camera that I can just carry around and vlog with. Take some quick videos, not really take a whole lot of photos. Honestly, iPhone and the camera and the video and this camera is just so good. Like, it's surprisingly good. If you don't have anything to vlog with, the iPhone cameras are just amazing. And you're gonna see a video that's coming out next week shot exclusively on the iPhone 12. Yeah, the iPhone 12. And you know, I was looking at that video and I was like, oh my God, it's so good. So all of this stuff that I've been shooting on this, I've been really, really happy with the results that I've been getting on the iPhone 13. All right, so let's talk about lenses. So as a landscape photographer, you always kind of want to get that wide angle shot. You know, the main draw of landscape photography, when everybody thinks about landscape photography, it's what wide angle lens are you using? So my main wide angle lens recently has been this lens. It's the Sony 12 to 24 G Master 2.8 lens. And the reason why I get 2.8 lenses instead of like the f4 version is, even though it's heavier, sometimes I shoot astrophotography and kind of need the f2.8. And this thing is an absolute beast. I mean, look at that bulbous front element. It's just, it's crazy, this lens. And it is so tack sharp, so good. And it's just an absolute beast of a lens. It's super expensive, $3,000, and I'm still trying to work on paying that lens off. Thank God for B&H monthly installments. But yeah, sick lens, absolutely fantastic. It pairs great with the A7 R3. So usually just, this is the setup that kind of lives on this camera, especially if I'm doing a whole lot of wide angle stuff, shooting a lot of seascapes. It's really great. And that one pretty much just goes right here on this middle kind of pocket here. Hang on. I don't know why it's not fitting in there. But there. Just kind of fits right there in the camera bag. That is kind of like the main setup. I also have a secondary lens that I use on occasion. If I need to get a little bit more reach closer in, I will use the Sony 24 to 105 G lens. And it's a G lens, so the sharpness obviously is not going to be as great as G Master lenses. But honestly, when I shot with the 24 to 70 G Master and I've shot with this lens, and honestly that difference is very, very minimal. So I really do enjoy using the 24 to 105 G lens when I just have to punch in just a little bit more, maybe like that 50 millimeter range. This kind of definitely fills the gap between, you know, the wide angle of the 24 millimeter and the next lens that I'm going to talk about, which this lens kind of goes wherever I can find space for it. So for right now, we'll just put it there. All right. So last lens, my all-time favorite lens. I mean, if you had to make me pick between the 12 to 24 and this lens, the 100 to 400 G Master, I think that it would be a very, very tight race. And I think I would probably end up picking the 100 to 400. I cannot leave home without it. And I don't use it as much as I should because I always have the wide angle lenses on. I usually reach straight to the wide angle lens. But if, you know, there's one lens that I would shoot for the rest of my life, it would be the 100 to 400. And the reason for that is it's super versatile to go from 100 all the way to 400. And it's relatively small for like a super telephoto lens. It's relatively light for a super telephoto lens. The autofocus is really good. It's tack sharp. And shooting landscapes at telephoto focal lengths just kind of gives your photos just kind of like that unique feel. You can shoot more intimate shots. You can shoot more detailed shots. And honestly, photography is more so about how you kind of see the world in your own individual way. And sometimes wide angle landscapes can kind of get redundant, or I guess kind of like really washed and overshot, which is partially due to social media to blame. But you know, having the 100 to 400 on just kind of makes your field of view so much more different. You can be able to pick out small pieces of the landscape that you really like, and you know, just kind of gives your shots like a more unique, creative feel to them. So 100 to 400, absolute beast. That one normally slides underneath close to the back or close to the butt. Kind of keeps that weight all the way on the bottom. And that's usually where those lenses sit. Another thing, we'll just put this, the 6500 or 6600, I mean. We'll put the 6600, we'll slide it into this pocket right here. All right. Alright, so this spot over here in the bag is kind of reserved for the vlogging setup if I really need to. Most of the time the vlog setup kind of stays on the outside of the bag, but occasionally it does kind of have to go inside the bag. So this spot area is reserved for the A7 IV and my main vlogging lens, which is the 16-35 G Master. And the 16-35 GM, man, that's one hell of a lens. Super sharp, can punch all the way from 16 all the way to 35. If I use crop mode, I can get to about 50 millimeters, so it's super versatile for vlogging. Super wide angle lenses are just great for just kind of capturing the entirety of a scene. If you can imagine a big beach behind me or a big mountain range, you could see all the stuff that's going on behind me, and yeah, just no complaints. I mean, if you had to pick one lens to vlog with, it'd be the 16-35. Got the 2.8 version for this nice shallow depth of field, and yeah, it's great. All right, now let's talk about drones. Oh, okay. So, the drone that we are still shooting with is this one. This is the DJI Mavic 2 Zoom, and I haven't upgraded to any of the smaller ones yet, and the reason for that is mostly because I feel like I don't really need to upgrade just yet. And I guess the reason for that is I really want something with an optical zoom, and to shoot 4K video all the way from 24 millimeters all the way to 50 millimeters is great. You can also take 48 megapixel stills with that zoom lens if you do a panorama. And honestly, the Mavic 3 looks really cool, but it also looks super, I mean, it is super expensive. And the telephoto lens can't really take raw photos. So I have yet to see something that kind of carries the same specs or the same weight in terms of what I need out of a drone. Battery life could be better. It's only like 20 minutes or something like that, and these batteries are super old, so it's probably like more like 15 minutes when I fly. But you know, the drone kind of hangs out on this top part of the bag. Oh, if I can even get these in with all these props going on and attacking me. Oh. And then this small little pocket on this end, we put the controller and the extra battery in there. And that is the drone setup, and that is essentially kind of the base kit for my landscape photography adventures. So at any point in time, we could really, in theory, run 1, 2, and then 3 time lapses and vlog with the iPhone if we really wanted to do something crazy like that. But usually I kind of just have 1 or 2 time lapses going, and then 1 video camera, or 1 camera doing time lapse, 1 camera for wildlife photography, and 1 camera for video, something like that. But yeah, that's the crazy setup that we have. That's kind of like our main stuff. Now, next thing that we can talk about is filters. All right, so filters are kind of fun to use in photography. Sometimes they can be kind of frustrating, but if you know how to use them right, then they can definitely be fun and they can take your photos to the next level. So for starters, we're going to start with our kind of like our main photo filters, and we just kind of carry this in this super cheap, super beat up filter case. I don't know where I got this filter case from. I think it must have come in one of those sets that you get on Adorama, but I carry 4 main filters for photography. I also carry a 77mm to 82mm step-up ring. That way I can use these 82mm on my 77mm lens, and that's the 24 to 105 and the 100 to 400. And everything else is 82mm or requires a different system. So the lens that I kind of use fairly often, but actually not really that often, is the polarizer from Polar Pro. And if you look kind of closely, I mean, you're not going to be able to see it on there, but if you look closely, this polarizer is super duper scratched up. I've use this thing super often, especially when I exclusively shot stills on the 16 to 35. But basically what a polarizer will do is kind of cut reflections. This works really good for waterfalls, works really good for seascapes. And I feel like I have videos in the works that will kind of show you how a circular polarizer uses in various situations. The next couple of filters I have are 2 solid ND filters from PolarPro. I have the 3-stop ND filter, and I also have the 6-stop ND filter. And I feel like with those 2 combined, it can give me some pretty good light reduction. The 6-stop ND filter I use for like super bright seascape scenes where the light is super harsh, coming crashing into your face and into your camera, so really darkens down the sky a whole lot with the 6-stop. And the 3-stop is kind of like the ND filter that kind of just takes the edge off of the brightness, especially when shooting seascapes right at the time the sun is setting. Slap one of these on, you can shoot at ISO 100, get your shutter speed down to like 1 second, and it's just great. And that is kind of like the small, very simple filter set from PolarPro. That usually kind of goes wherever I can find a spot. Sometimes it'll go there, sometimes it will also go just kind of sitting on top of the camera. Wherever I can find space in the bag, I kind of just put it wherever. Now for video, I have both these are the version 2s of the Peter McKinnon variable ND sets. And I have which one is this? This is the 2 to 5 stop. I have the 2 to 5 stop edition and the 6 to 9 stop edition right there. Now, I don't really use the 6 to 9 stop all that much. I kind of have bought it just in case I really needed it, but I haven't really found a situation, even in like late afternoon, where the light is super harsh. I feel I can still get away with 5 stop of ND reduction. And variable NDs are nice for video, at least because you can just plop it on, darken down what you need, and when you go into the shade or you go into the sunlight, you can just twist it and it brightens up the scene. So it makes it super convenient to have kind of like a variable ND filter for video. And PolarPro honestly makes like the best ND filters out there. So we got the Peter McKinnon variable ND filter version 2 and been happy with it. Now, there is one problem with our filter set, and before I got the 12 to 24, I never had this problem. But now that we have the 12 to 24, we have this super gigantic big bulbous element, and this big bulbous element does not allow us to use any of our circular filters on there. The bulbous element is just too big. It can't fit any filters. It doesn't have a thread or anything. Like even the PMVND doesn't even stay attached to the lens. So in order to still use filters, and even if and to be honest, I don't really use filters a whole lot, but in the some cases that I do, we got this monstrosity. So this is the Haida 150 millimeters M10. I think it's that? No, it's the M15. So it's the M15 set and the kit. And I'm not sure if I have any videos out there that kind of show me using these filters, but this filter kit is gigantic. I mean, this is the size of the filter kit and this is the size of my face. It's basically the size of my face, pretty much. But yeah, basically this filter system is 2 parts. The first part is the adapter ring, and this adapter ring you can buy for whatever. You can get like a 82 millimeter adapter ring. You can get adapter rings that are specifically tailored for the lens that you have, and in this case it's the 12 to 24 G Master. So the adapter ring kind of goes onto the lens like this, kind of secures everything on the outside of the lens like that. There we go. And then once you kind of have that set, you get the filter holder. Place it on like that, and then now you're ready to use these super gigantic filters from that are 150 millimeters in length, in length, I don't know, but super duper gigantic filters. Again, these things are as big as my face, you know? Like these things are ginormous, which is most of the reason why I never really use these filters. But yeah, this slides in like that, and then you're ready to go take some real epic seascapes, if I don't say so myself. Yeah, I use this sometimes, not a whole lot. If I feel like I can get away with not using a filter, then I will. But sometimes, if I know the shot is going to require an ND filter or a polarizer, then I'll definitely bring it. This kit also comes with a circular polarizer. Look at that thing. This thing is really like the size of my face, my goodness. It does come with a circular polarizer that you can put on the inside of the kit. But yeah, that is the kit. It's pretty fun. I mean, it's kind of cool to use. It's just a gigantic hassle to lug around all the time, which is I only use it sometimes. If I'm shooting seascapes for sunset or for sunrise, I'll definitely just try to have it handy, but I don't always use it. All right, we can put you away. Now, this filter system doesn't go in the camera bag. I mean, this thing, with the amount of camera gear that we have, this thing has no space. So what I usually do is use these back straps and basically just wrap this around the top of the tripod and secure it like that. And speaking of tripods, let's get into our tripod setup. Actually, before we do that, we have to go over one more lens. Oh my goodness. Oh. This is my bazooka lens. Boom. So this is my most recent purchase, my most recent impulse purchase. And this is the Sigma, this is the Sigma 150 to 600 lens. And this is the sport lens for Sony E-mount lenses. And this thing is a gigantic beast. I've used it a couple times, and it takes some great wildlife photos. I love the autofocus. It's performs snappier than most Sigma lenses, which is great. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now, I want to preface this by saying I only bring this out, or I'm only supposed to bring this out, if I know that I'm trying to go for a specific wildlife shot, or if I'm going to shoot exclusively the full moon, or I just have something in mind that requires that, 500 to 600 range, or as much range as possible, because I already have the 100 to 400, and the 100 to 400 already takes up a really small footprint, so I don't really need the 150 to 600, but sometimes having that extra reach, especially for wildlife photography, is actually really helpful. So I never carry these two lenses at the same time. This one goes out, and then this one takes its place in the camera bag, just like that. And then we break our back even more. But yeah, that is the latest impulse buy. I didn't really pay full price for this lens. Me and my friend Walt, the one I borrowed the A7R3 for from the Big Island trip, I also borrowed the Tamron 150 to 600. Not 150 to 600. I also borrowed the Tamron 35 to 150. We purchased this lens together, so its nickname is Salt, because Walt plus Spencer equals Salt. Anyways, so Salt kind of only comes out on a once in a lifetime basis. Very rare that we ever take him out, but in the cases that we do have them and we do use them, man, is it going to be juicy. And I wish I had this lens for the Big Island trip, because I used a lot of the 100 to 400 for those really zoomed in tight shots of the volcano, because we were so far away. But having a 600mm lens, you could really get a chance to look at the lava flow that was down on the crater. So kind of a bummer that we didn't get a chance to use it, but it is what it is. There will always be a next time when that volcano erupts, so we'll make sure to have this lens ready next time we head back to the Big Island. All right, so that does it for camera bodies. Where were we? Were we talking about tripods? Were we talking about audio? Let's do audio first. Now, I admit my audio is not the best. I'm not an audio person, so I'm not fully decked out with lav mics or whatever. But my mic of choice currently is this Deity Duo, and this little microphone is kind of interesting because it's kind of like a dual mic. So watch here. I have the dead cat on, but if I take it off, you see I actually have two microphones on there. And the reason for that is a lot of times I do like talking head pieces with my friends. Like I'll bring the camera up to them and I'll kind of be filming like this, where I'm talking to them and I'm also talking into the camera from behind. So I'll kind of have like a little conversation like this. And having two microphones to pick up audio is really good. That way I don't have to worry about one side of the audio being better than the other. And yeah, it's just a really great mic. Super easy, doesn't require batteries, so I don't have to worry about that. And that kind of goes in right there. All right, now let's talk about tripods. All right, get this out of the way again. All right, so in order to talk about tripods, we kind of have to stand up for this. So my main tripod is this iFootage TC7, and you know, this is, if you've ever seen this tripod before, you know, odds are you're a big Thomas Heaton fan. This is the Thomas Heaton tripod. The only thing that's different between mine and his is that he kind of modded his to give his like the spikes, and I haven't done that. And we also use different ball heads or fluid heads in that case. But I really love this tripod because it's super duper light, carbon fiber. And really enjoy iFootage's flip locks. And you know, have this being only three sections of the tripod, the fact that it can go taller than than me kind of says a lot about, I mean, it says a lot about how short I am, but it also is kind of impressive for, you know, a tripod. So this is the iFootage TC7, fully extended all the way to the top. We have a super awesome, very quick leveling base that I use for panoramas and video. And on top of the tripod, hang on, let me just go underneath the tripod and kind of show you guys what we have underneath. The fluid head that we use on top is the iFootage Komodo K5. This is kind of like their lightweight fluid head setup. And the reason why I like this is, even though it's a fluid head, it's relatively light for a fluid head. I think it's only like 2 pounds or something like that. And when I need really nice fluid motion for video of wildlife, or you know, doing a nice pan or tilt for video, I have it, and it's really, really nice, really, really useful. And basically it uses the Manfrotto quick release plates, but because everything is running on ArcaSwiss, I just put an ArcaSwiss clamp on top of that Manfrotto plate. So we do get, you know, usability across all of our cameras, and attaches all great. And then it just goes on top of the tripod, just like that. Very simple. Very easy, super stable. Super stable of a tripod. I just absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so I love iFootage so much that I went out and I purchased a secondary tripod from them. And this is kind of like my hiking tripod, where I kind of need to save space, but I kind of don't really want to give, give away some of the functionality of the TC7. This is their TC5, and their TC5 actually has a center column that you can put it underneath, but I kind of find that that center column just kind of makes the whole tripod heavier, and I rarely use the center column anyways. But it's a 4-section tripod. It doesn't go as tall, fully extended, but it folds up nice and small, so it really fits on top of the bag really, really nice. Let's see if I fully extend it. Boom, there we go. Super nice. It also has a built-in leveling system for with the ball head on top. And right now, I kind of have this cheap Leofoto ball head on top. Let me show you guys here. A very, very cheap Leofoto ball head on top. And this is kind of just my B tripod in case I ever need another tripod to do like time lapse. This is kind of like the tripod I like to use because it's super stable for being kind of like the B tripod. Again, I really love the flip blocks from iFootage. They're just super easy to use. A little hard to clean, but not that bad. Haven't run into any issues with these tripods yet. Super happy with the quality. Now, I still have one more tripod left to go, and this is my main vlogging tripod. This is the Benro Slim. This is their smallest tripods that they have, and I usually use this just exclusively for vlogging. I try not to use this as much for time-lapse because it's super small, and it's kind of, you know, if there's a lot of wind, you're definitely going to see a lot of shakes in the time-lapse, and unfortunately it uses these twist locks, so sometimes I won't tighten it down enough and I won't be able to tell if I actually tighten it down, and then when I try to like push the tripod down, it doesn't actually lock. So that's why I prefer the clip locks or the lever locks for my main tripods. But this one is actually not that bad. If I fully extend it with the center column, it actually gets to a pretty decent working height. You can just easily set the tripod down, walk back and forth. It's super light. It folds up relatively small. You know, you do actually save a whole lot of weight having a lightweight tripod, but you'll also save a whole bunch of money if you get this tripod over the Peak Design travel tripod, which is carbon fiber. It's relatively lightweight too, but it's super expensive. It's like $600 for that Peak Design tripod. This one is like $100. You could probably get it for like $100, $150. You could probably buy, I cannot math, but a couple of these tripods for one of those Peak Design tripods, and honestly, this thing has not let me down for a while, and you can see how badly it's beaten up if you just kind of take a look around the tripod and the legs and stuff. It's pretty beat up, but it's stood the test of time. I haven't had anything tip over. Just don't set up your tripod in precarious situations. You won't really have anything to tip over. But if you know me, I like to do that, so. All right. Ooh. There we go. All right. All right, so stuff to keep your cameras dry when you're out shooting. First off, we have the Nitecore Blower Baby. This is an awesome thing that I just got, and it can blow. Woo, it's nice. It's hot right now, so this is actually really, really helpful. But it blows air nice and neat, nice and cool. Just kind of really nice to just take all the air and all that moisture, not the air, all the water and all the moisture off of the camera when you're out in the rain. If you have water on the front element, it's just one of these, and then you're all done. So this kind of just goes anywhere in the bag, honestly, and just find an empty space for it. A lot of times it's on the side of the bag, like such. And another thing too is these microfiber towel cloths, so that you can use them to wear a mask when you're outside. Just kidding, don't use these as masks, but just something to wipe all lenses off, wipe the camera down if it's raining. It really works really well for that. And this kind of just goes in also wherever in the camera bag. Another thing that kind of helps keep the rain off and the moisture off of the cameras are, I have a couple of these. Okay. These really cool rain covers from Think Tank Photo. And basically, they're just like camera sleeves that go over your camera. And if you allow me to demonstrate, oh my God, this bag is too heavy. If you allow me to demonstrate on this guy, basically, you take the cold shoe or the hot shoe mount out, just like that. And there's a hot shoe mount built into the back of the camera, you slide the camera into the sleeve like such. You attach the hot shoe mount onto the camera, and then on the front you have kind of like a Velcro system going on. Sometimes this is kind of clunky to use, but most of the time in the field it's better than, I guess, it's more secure than like a plastic bag or a hairnet. So ideally you would have your lens hood or something like that. This one has a built-in lens hood, so it just wraps around like that, secures with the Velcro, and boom, you're fully covered by rain, and nothing is really going to get on top of it. So you can keep shooting in the rain as long as the moisture isn't coming from the front. You should be perfectly fine. And I carry a couple of these guys in the camera bag at all times wherever I go. What makes this camera bag great is it has a kind of like a built-in system for it. So you ideally would like to carry these things separately, especially if you're shooting a lot in the rain. You don't want to throw these into the camera bag because then it's going to make your camera bag all moist and gross and damage all your gear. So the Near Zero Whitney has, it's part of its built-in system, but it has a pocket that kind of runs down all the way and it kind of drains out here with this mesh. So you just put like a wet jacket or these guys inside of that back panel. Sometimes it flattens out, sometimes it doesn't flatten down as nice as others, but you flatten it down as best you can and you have all of that moisture is able to escape from the bottom. That way you keep the moisture and all of that stuff away from your camera gear, which is great. Now, I guess that's about it for all of the camera gear and stuff. And I guess the moral of the story is I have a severe case of gas, and gear acquisition syndrome is something that I think a lot of photographers go through, where you kind of just want to buy a whole lot of gear and you can't get enough gear and you need all of the gear. As you can tell, like me, I gravitate towards making sure that I have all of the focal lengths covered all the way from 12, actually all the way up to 600 now, which can take its toll. And recently, after our Big Island trip last year, I had a pretty severe back injury at work. I guess if you don't know me personally, you know for a fact that I don't do YouTube, I don't do photography full-time. I actually kind of just do this on the side for fun. And my full-time job is as a registered nurse at one of our main hospitals here in Honolulu. So that back injury pretty much took me out. I definitely could not carry this huge, gigantic camera bag every time I go out and shoot. But the more recent, I guess, setup that I've been using is a lot smaller and a lot easier on my back. Oops. And you can definitely tell I got the back brace action going on. Now, the solution to the back problems has been this. And as you can tell, I'm a really big Sony fanboy. I'm also a really big Apple fanboy. I guess I'm also now really a big Peak Design fanboy. So this is the Peak Design 10-liter sling. And they're 3-liter and they're 6-liter. You can use, and it comes with like a built-in strap that you can use for a waist strap. But they tell you the 10-liter is not designed to be used as a waist strap. It's more designed to be used as kind of like a sling bag. But if I were to take these waist straps off of the Near Zero Whitney and place them onto the little loops on the Peak Design sling, I now have a setup that I can use as a waist strap or a waist bag, kind of. A very oversized waist bag, if I am not lying to you, if I'm being completely honest. I now have a oversized waist pack that I can carry both in the front like this as well as swing it around and kind of carry it a little bit higher on the back like such. And it is really big. It's kind of obnoxious. It kind of looks weird, but it definitely takes the weight off of the bag, off of the lower back, and gives it a little bit more weight on the hips, which definitely helps with the back injury. I can also use this simultaneously with the sling itself. Just drop it down like this. And there's a little bit of weight on the shoulder, but most of the weight is hanging on the hips. And yeah, it just makes carrying all of this camera gear super easy and really simple. Now, with the limited size that the sling can hold, it can only hold 10 liters. It surprisingly can hold quite a bit of gear. So in this front pocket here, we throw in our miscellaneous supplies such as the towel. Throw in some filters in the front pocket. We can pack away our phone mount. And that zips up nice and easy. If we open up our main pocket, you can get the 100 to 400. Drop that right down in the middle. Yes, it does fit. We can bring the A7R3 with the 12 to 24. Drop that in there. And if we really wanted to, we could fit in the drone, or we could also fit in the vlog setup right here with the mic and everything. And it just makes for like a really nice and easy run and gun setup. If we put the Peak Design capture clip on the side, we can actually throw in another camera body just running and gunning on the outside. We could have the drone on the inside, and boom, you just have like a full-on setup that's super easy to use, super easy to carry around, nice on the back, which is what I like to do, what I like to bring around. You can also take a tripod and slide it underneath, because this camera also has, hang on, straps on the bottom, which I do like to use plenty of times when I go out to shoot. So that is actually the camera setup that I like to use currently because of the back injury. I haven't been doing a lot of hiking. It's mostly just been very nice and easy walks. Hang on one second, it just got super bright. Yeah, that's good enough. So that Peak Design sling bag is kind of the camera setup that I've been using as of late because of the back injury. Hopefully I can get back to using the big camera and the big setup. The big camera bag and the big setup pretty soon, because I do miss carrying the drone and the extra camera body, and being able to strap the tripods to the side and carry that around nice and easily. But you know, sometimes when life gets in the way, you kind of have to sacrifice some things, and carrying around this gigantic monstrosity of a camera bag is something that I've sacrificed, unfortunately, but it is what it is. But anyways, that's gonna about do it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, comment below, and subscribe. If you aren't already, please go ahead and watch the Big Island vlogs that we just finished up. This camera bag encompassed essentially what we brought, but we also brought two of my friends' camera bodies and one of my friends' extra lenses. So we had some insane amount of camera gear that day, or for those trips. But yeah, go and check those out. Check out the Kauai vlogs. There'll be more videos coming out soon. Hopefully I don't get backlogged on editing. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate all the support and love. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below. Hit that like button, comment below, and subscribe if you aren't already. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Sorry, I forgot about you. You're definitely a part of my camera bag, but you don't really ever go inside the camera bag, so it's more like, what do I bring with me on a shoot? So I don't know, you kind of fit in the video, but you kind of didn't, so I'm sorry you didn't make the cut. But yes, Baby Yoda does come along with us. Excuse you. He does come on photographic adventures quite a bit. So Baby Yoda, also an essential part of the camera bag, I guess. Sorry I didn't include you. But yeah, say goodbye.